Welcome to the On the Move podcast with Star Moving Solutions. I'm your host, Javen Ray. The point of this podcast is to take you through the relocation process, bring in people that are affiliated with moving, from realtors, insurance people, junk removal companies, and many more. But just to give you a background on Star Moving Solutions, we're a full service moving company here in Dulles, Virginia. We can handle local, long distance, international moves. We've been in business since 1998. So we've seen a wide variety of moves. We started back in the day as an international moving company. In the late 2000s, we brought an interstate, and now we do a lot of local. So we can handle any moves. We also don't have to handle moves that facilitate in this area. If you're moving from California back to Virginia, even California to Texas, we can still help you out. Today's episode, we're going to interview a good friend of mine, Sam Richardson, with It's All Good. He's in junk removal. He's going to tell you about his company and how junk removal and moving correlate and work together to help you move. So Sam, you mind telling us how you got started, how long you've been doing this?
Yeah, for sure. So I actually got started in a very different way by actually having to use the service or more or less provide it to myself. Back in 2014, I was primary caretaker for my dad. He ended up getting terminally ill, and after the better part of a year of being a caretaker, my sister and I ended up having to downsize his whole estate. This is back in Kentucky, so I'd been living out here, kind of starting a life, and back in Kentucky for a year. That process required about 12 months after he inevitably passed away of literally touching everything he owned. So cleaning out his two-story house, a couple of 20-foot storage units, everything inside of there had to be removed and purged. And during that process, I realized that it's something that a lot of people need that nobody really expects they need. And it's kind of one of those things that maybe not always planned. And it was such a pivotal moment in my life, and there was a lot of emotion involved. And I thought, man, this is something that I could really do in Northern Virginia.
Yeah, that's first off, sorry that's how you got started. But I know that you've taken off significantly from then, and you've been in business for, I believe, 9 years now.
Coming up on 9 years.
That's incredible. So moving goes hand in hand with junk removal. Would you mind touching on kind of either some tricks and tips, or something that they should be looking for, anything that they can help either you when you're out there or them just going through the process?
Yeah, definitely. The first thing I would say, which I'm sure Javen would probably reiterate, is that it is a lot more work than you think you're going to need to do. If you have a few months to prep for a move, or if you have much less than that, say a month prep for a move, or getting rid of things, you want to make sure you give yourself as much time as possible. And I know it's exhausting. So the biggest thing I would really say is make it more of a lifestyle change. Think about every time you're leaving your house, especially if you're transitioning or selling, or if you're downsizing and you're going to have a move in your near future, is really to just go ahead and start adopting the idea that I need to live a little bit more lean and start taking things out. My former background is the restaurant industry. So we used to have a saying, full hands in and full hands out, meaning when you're leaving the kitchen, you take some food to a guest, and when you're going back in, you take some dirty dishes back to the kitchen. So you remove the full hands in to your house, and you just implement the full hands out every time you leave. Take something that doesn't serve you, something that you don't want anymore, something that's maybe not worthwhile, old clothes, things that don't fit you. I know I'm in my winter wardrobe right now, but something that's not serving you anymore, and that'll make your move significantly easier, and the more time you give yourself, the better.
That's great. I know I've heard the stories, I've seen the pictures. What's one story, one either horror story, crazy story, something that you've gotten rid of or seen that would pique someone's interest, someone that maybe a customer doesn't really realize that you would handle?
Yeah. So there's a plethora to pick from. I would say, as it relates especially to moving, we worked with a really great couple that was selling their house actually in McLean. They were very much so, seniors and having a really tough time with the whole process. And they thought that they could, take care of everything. There was a lot of art in this house. There was a lot of really, they were both very creative style people, and there was a lot of things that really meant a lot to them. As much as we urged them, we got introduced very early on in the process. We tried to help with some of the purging as they were going along. No pressure, just trying to hopefully educate them on how much work it was actually going to take. And they were selling their home to a developer who was going to knock the place down. The sad story in this, and what I hope everyone takes away, is that unfortunately, when you wait too long and if it gets too far, the dignity in the process of downsizing really goes away. If you call a company up to try to get something done last second, we're a lot more limited in our options in terms of getting things to a donation center, or maybe finding somebody who could come in and even purchase something. So we were called with basically like a 1.5 or 2 day notice to try to clean out a 3,200 square foot house. And a lot of those items ended up just defaulting because of the agreement they had to just have to be left in the house and end up being destroyed with the home. So we were able to get a substantial amount out of there, but it wasn't everything. And that story still sticks with me because of how sad this couple was. That unfortunately they didn't realize how much was going to go into it. And at the end of it, it really was a horrible process for them. But we were able to help with the most important things, but some of them still ended up getting kind of knocked down with the house.
Gotcha. And just to reel back a little bit, and then you mentioned it, just for everyone listening to know, you do try and donate items first before you throw them away, right? Just so a lot of people can know that their stuff's going to good hands.
Yeah, exactly. And this is important, I think, for every person listening to this, whether you're a consumer, a homeowner, if you're somebody who's more in a profession like a real estate agent, anybody who helps with maybe the moving process, like senior move managers, or like a lot of what you guys do, acting as even advisors. If you're in any of those realms, it's really important to anyone who's moving, or especially those who are downsizing with big moves, that their items are not just thrown away. So I think it's a little bit misleading. We call ourselves It's Haul Good. It's a fun name, and we didn't put junk in our name specifically because not everything we take away, as a matter of fact, a large portion of what we take away is not junk. It's things that still serve another purpose. They're going to go on to have a second, or maybe in some cases, 5th, 6th, 7th life. We don't know. But those items are donated to organizations. We work with more than 10 of them at this point. Some of them go to refugees who are coming into the country. Some of them go to women's centers. Some of them go to faith-based organizations. We donate a ton, actually lots of tons, to Habitat for Humanity. So we are really big on donations, and a lot of the items we take away does not have to be junk. It just has to be something that you no longer want to keep.
And is there anything else you want to let people know about you, your company, anything along those lines that could benefit them knowing?
Yeah, I would say junk removal is a funny thing, because where I come from in the country, there's really not junk removal, because most people drive pickup trucks, and we can all be persuaded with beer and pizza. So that being said, if you have a professional junk removal service, or if you're entertaining the idea of getting rid of a lot of items, we're talking about the things that maybe you can't handle with your spouse, your loved one. If you and your wife are thinking about taking the armoire that's on your second floor in the master bedroom down to the kitchen, or somewhere downstairs, so that maybe a donation center can come. That is pulling something in your back as we get older, as I can already attest to personally, can put you out for multiple weeks, if not months, and affect your life in a lot of different ways. So I would say that be very careful just calling anybody. One, if you're about to sell a home, you need to make sure you're protecting your house. It's one of the reasons why we love Star Moving and Javen and his team, because they're absolutely the best at taking care of the house and making sure that there's no hiccups as you're going to the closing table. So that being said, same thing with junk removal. You need to make sure that you have people who respect your property, people who are licensed and insured to do this type of work, and also I think people who are sustainable and focused on what we do with the things, because we feel certainly a responsibility to make sure that the stuff that we're taking out goes to a good place. And I think that that's really important. There's no shortage of people who will love to get paid to come take your stuff away, but not all of them truly belong in your house. And especially if you've got kids or sensitive living situations, not all of them belong there. And really do your due diligence in finding a good company to work with.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And I know you guys are really big on social media. Is there any way that anyone listening can follow you? You have some great videos, some funny videos, that really get your name out there. Is there any way that they can give you a follow?
Yeah, of course. I would say don't watch our content if you're going to the dinner table. But that being said, we do a lot of educational things. Our handles, if you will, or for those of you not sure with handles, where you can find us on Instagram and Facebook is that we have just @It's Haul Good. So ITSHAULGOOD @It's Haul Good. And then anywhere else, we're on LinkedIn. Personally, my page, I do a lot on there, but we're really active on Facebook and Instagram. Or you can just give us a call. Phone number for our office for scheduling any questions, 703-646-9194, and we'd love to just be a resource. You don't even have to use us. If you're getting rid of stuff, we may be able to save you some time and money. Just give us a call, and we'd love to be advisors for you.
Yeah, no, definitely. They're great videos. I watch them. And Sam, yeah, I appreciate your time. You know, they've done stuff in my house and it went smooth. I know he doesn't want me to say this, but it was within 24 hours and he made it happen. So it's a great company to work with. If you get an opportunity, you need junk removal, I definitely highly recommend them.
Awesome. Thanks so much, David.
Yeah, no problem.